When collectors think of Palitoy mail-away offers, the names that usually come up first are Boba Fett and Dengar, but Palitoy's final mail-away offer, the Rancor Keeper, is often the most overlooked. The promotion followed a very similar format to Palitoy's earlier Emperor offer, using the tagline, "Keep a Rancor, keep a free." Personally, I don't think it quite matches the brilliance of the Emperor campaigns by the troops get the leader free slogan, but it was clearly following the same formula. Like the Emperor promotion, the artwork was created by comic artist Frank Langford. Frank was also responsible for the artwork used in Palitoy's earlier Chewbacca bandolier promotion and also the artwork promoting their painting competition. The artwork has the Rancor Keeper in side profile, marching across the page while looking back over his shoulder. Behind him, a recreation of the Rancor pit scene, with the Rancor holding the terrified Gamorrean guard in one hand and the other arm raised, ready to strike at Luke Skywalker standing below. The advert itself read, "Even a ferocious Rancor monster needs someone to watch over him and be his friend, so here's your chance to get a Rancor Keeper free." The offer worked in the same way as many previous Palitoy promotions. Children had to buy 6 Star Wars action figures, cut out their nameplates from the card backs, and send them to Palitoy along with their name, age, and address, plus a check or postal order for 33 pence to cover the postage. Applications had to reach Palitoy by the 31st of January 1985. The advert first appeared as a full-page colour promotion in Star Wars Weekly issue 63 in September of 1984, appearing in other UK comics around the same time. The same artwork was also used on point-of-sale flyers in toy shops. These were printed on much cheaper paper stock than the Emperor flyers and without that flyer's glossy finish. Unlike some earlier Palitoy promotions, the Rancor Keeper offer did not appear on card backs and by this stage of the Star Wars line, unsurprisingly, did not receive any television advertising. The timing of this promotion is quite interesting though. The Emperor offer had only finished a mere 2 months earlier, closing on the 26th of June 1984. Rather than reducing their promotional activity though, Palitoy actually appeared to be doing the opposite. At the same time the Rancor Keeper offer launched, Palitoy's painting competition had just closed, with £6,000 worth of toys available as prizes across various age groups. They were also running 2 direct-to-consumer promotions. The first was the Unbeatable Offers for You promotion, where collectors could exchange nameplates and a small payment for a range of Star Wars items, including action figures, an Imperial troop transport, a Wampa, plush Ewoks, a PD-8, and the Chewbacca bandolier. The second was the Yes It's True Action Force and Star Wars crossover promotion, which allowed customers to claim free mini-rigs by sending in their store receipts for larger Star Wars vehicle purchases. Both of these promotions ended in October of 1984, but taken together give an interesting picture of Palitoy's approach heading into Christmas of 1984. Transformers and Masters of the Universe were becoming increasingly dominant in the boys' toy market, but Palitoy was still putting considerable effort into keeping Star Wars visible. The Rancor Keeper was not only significant because it was Palitoy's final Star Wars mail-away figure. What makes the Rancor Keeper also significant is that alongside Dengar, it represents one of only 2 figures that were available in the UK as mail-aways, but were not offered as mail-aways in the United States by Kenner. Unlike the United States where the Anakin Skywalker mail-away was later promoted, there is no evidence the Anakin offer was made available in the UK. But why did Palitoy choose the Rancor Keeper? The choice is certainly curious. The figure had already been released earlier in 1984 on a tri-logo card as part of the second wave of Return of the Jedi figures. So why promote a figure that could already be built at retail? One possibility is that Palitoy had excess stock of the figure and used the promotion as a way of moving inventory. Another is that they were trying to encourage sales of the Rancor itself, which came out earlier that year also, and had its own TV advertisement, with the free character acting as an incentive for children to want the larger creature for Christmas. The timing of the US Anakin promotion also raises questions. The Anakin offer began in late 1984 and overlapped with the UK Rancor Keeper promotion. In America, this continued until May 1985. So why did the UK not receive the Anakin offer? A shortage of Anakin figures seemed unlikely, especially given the amount of unsold stock that remained at the end of the vintage line. Perhaps this was simply another example of Palitoy going its own way. Rather than adopting the US Anakin promotion, they chose their own mail-away campaign with a different figure that suited the UK market at that point. But more likely though is that by early 1985, Palitoy had decided the UK market had declined too much to justify another major mail-away campaign. Not only that, in May of 1985 at Palitoy there were mass redundancies and Palitoy stopped production on Star Wars toys. So maybe the management had stepped in there and pulled the plug on the Anakin offer. For collectors who successfully claimed one, the Rancor Keeper arrived in a white Palitoy mailer box measuring approximately 102 by 52.5 by 35 millimeters, slightly larger than the earlier Emperor mailer. Inside was simply the figure in a Palitoy A-type tape-sealed baggie with "Made in Hong Kong" printed in blue text. As was typical for Palitoy mailaways, no catalogue or additional paperwork was included. But the story of the Rancor Keeper mailaway does not end there. Surplus Palitoy Rancor Keeper A baggies without their original mailer boxes later appeared on UK shopping channel QVC in the 1990s. These were dispatched to customers in padded envelopes. There are also long-standing collector stories that some mailers were given away as fairground booby prizes. These would have been sourced from the Palitoy factory following its closure, although these stories are more difficult to verify. More recently, a large find of Rancor Keeper mailers surfaced in the basement of a closed toy shop. It was a fantastic discovery, although unfortunately many of these examples had suffered from damp and mould. And if you want to read more about that find, you should head over to Variant Villains Baggy Guide and take a look at the mailaways there, where this story is featured. Today, the Palitoy Rancor Keeper mailaway remains one of the tougher Jedi-era Palitoy mailers to find. It may not have the same popularity as Boba Fett or Dengar, but examples are noticeably scarcer than figures such as Nine Num or the Emperor. Recent examples are generally sold in the region of £100 to £150, depending on condition. It may not be the most glamorous Palitoy mailaway, but it is an interesting piece of Palitoy history.